All right, guys, just a quick recap. I gotta head out in a minute. First red day. My best trading day yesterday. Worst day today. Should have been green, but I just wanted to highlight, what it looked like in terms of my day. I didn't want to leave it till tomorrow because it wouldn't show my results. So I'll do a little more of a recap on the actual trades and stuff like that a little bit later. But yeah, red day today. Unfortunately, green streak is done. Can't win them all. Disappointed. It should have been a green day, like I said, but I'll talk about that. So unfortunately, ended the week red, but it was a green week, and the account has still grown and still at a point where it's up 100%. So it's okay. You can't win everything, but I did want to recap some of the trades that I did do. I did trade this stock right at the open. I like the way it looked pre-market because we have this. It's essentially a giant cup here, right? And so pre-market it dropped down a bit, but came back up to this important level up here, broke out through its all-time highs, and then just went straight up essentially. So I got a good trade on that. I was already down, and then I got a good trade on that, and that got me back to essentially break even. That was one of the trades I made, and then so like I said, the reason why I liked this one was because it had pushed up through here, made some highs, and then consolidated, based out sideways, right? It consolidated, and then started to move up, move up, move up, move up. It's making higher lows as it's coming through. It has a pullback, so probably some profit taking that people took after the bell opened. It held up, came right up, and came up strong with a lot of volume because we can see the volume here, right? Came up with volume and boom, broke through there, and then it just based out sideways again. So this would be something actually I'll probably continue to watch over the next week. If it breaks out again, it might give us a similar move. So that turned out to be a good trade. One of the one that I was showing, it's GMHI, right? So this one here was really frustrating. So on the chart, it looks pretty conducive to a strong pattern. However, it was pretty difficult to manage. It wasn't a clean trader, and what I mean by that is it was going through breakout points, and pivots that you would think would be substantial moves, and then not following through. And that is what I found a lot of in the market on Friday. Was there wasn't much momentum and follow through on a lot of the names that I was looking at, and that's the frustrating. Those are the frustrating days when you see good setups, but there's not a lot of follow through, and that might be a lack of volume. Might be, in my case, what I think was the big issue was that I was trading some stocks that didn't have a concrete catalyst associated with them. And that was something that maybe I should have been a little more aware of, is that they didn't have a catalyst directly associated with them. They were good patterns that were breaking out on highs, and breaking pivots that were important, but there was no catalyst to sustain that momentum with volume, and there wasn't probably enough traders looking at them to make the move as influential as I would have liked. So, and what I'm talking about here is, like, for example, we have a nice bull flag here, right? So it had some consolidation, boom, broke out, right? From a low of 29 to a high of 31.50, right? That's great. But it also had a false break here, right? So you see at the open, it pushed up, pulled back a little bit, and then it had this breakout here, right? Where it went from 28.76 to 29.90, and it's breaking out of this consolidation pattern here, and you think it's going to go. So you think it's going to make this move here, but it doesn't. It breaks out and then pulls back, and this one was a little bit wider spread as well. So you have the risk here that it's going to just boom, drop right off a cliff. And because it's moving faster, you can take a pretty sizable loss on it. So when you see this breakout and you see it false break, that's a lot of the time where you'll have it drop off a cliff, and that's what you want to avoid. So for me, I'm pretty sure I took this here, initial break, and it didn't work out, and I got out, and then I got back in, and then I got out, and boom, of course I'm not in when it makes this giant move here, right? And then again, you see it here, it pulled back, and then boom, started to make breakout, made a new high on the 5 minute, and then failed it. And then base sideways, it came down, dropped below what it was support levels here, and then you think, boom, it's going to drop off a cliff, and then it doesn't, and then it comes up and it breaks out again, and then it doesn't, and then it comes back down and tests the support level again, and then finally it comes up, and as it breaks the high day, then it starts to move. But even then, still, it broke out here, and again, it's not breaking through this breakout point with a lot of volume or anything, and then just randomly it starts running. So what you want to see on these breakouts is, breaks through that pivot with volume and then starts to move, because if it doesn't do that, there's a risk that there's gonna be people that have bought looking for that breakout, they start selling because there's no breakout, and then it brings the price down, and then you have short sellers or more people selling as it starts to break support, and then that's where a drop happens very steep and very fast. So that's what you're trying to avoid. So that's what I'm saying when this wasn't the cleanest, because it happened on multiple occasions where you're expecting a breakout to occur and it didn't, and it ended up grinding out a little bit more than we would have liked, and it was harder to maintain profit, right? And then it kind of based sideways and didn't really do a whole lot the rest of the day. um, and then I was looking at NVAX as well. So NVAX here, it had gone sideways, 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 right? Like even pre-markets testing the highs here at 130. It's not breaking over 130. So you're thinking, okay, it drops down, holds up, tests VWAP, VWAP comes back up, tests VWAP, comes back up. All right, now we're going to go. It breaks through 130 just briefly, only to test 130, 150, 130.50. So not really much a move through 130. You would think, as it's breaking pre-market highs and the high a day, as we see right here, right? The opening range, all these things, you think it's going to have follow through and start to move, because look, you pull the chart out and you think it's going to break out, because vaccines have had news recently, right? And then you have a pattern that's based sideways, and now it's breaking that out. And usually, especially with this stock recently, it would really start to run when it did that. No follow through, no volume coming in. So, that was a little bit frustrating as well, right? So, another example of looking for a move that, we were expecting to work and it didn't. So that was kind of the way everything worked on the day. And then even this last one that I was looking at, Lemonade, this one, again, it's, breaking. You look at this chart here, right? Boom. Again, you've got that large formation. This is on the daily chart of, it's come down, but now it's coming back up. This is an IPO from earlier this year. And, it's now coming towards its all-time highs, right? And the last area of resistance that it had in this area, right, it was, in 85 area. And so you're looking at this and you're thinking, okay, like if this breaks out, we might be able to test 88, 87, something like that. Get a 2-point move, something, because as this is, again, you see this, come up, it goes through, holds the support level here after a sharp drop, holds the support and just grinds up, for a couple hours, right? Tests up here, which, was making a new high day. It sets up here, right? Can't break through 85, just base sideways, comes down, doesn't completely drop, doesn't even test the VWAP, but holds support and then comes back up. So, we're looking at making a higher low here again, right? And then it comes up and it makes a lower high and it can't break 85 again. Then it starts to base sideways. So we've got all this consolidation, just, the low here is 82.50. So right below 85, right? $2.50 is the range here that is consolidating under. And then we see it start to break out, get some volume coming in. Volume spikes up here as it breaks through 85. Buyers start to come in, but then it just stalls, right? It gets up to 86, boom, that's it for the day. And so again, and that amount of consolidation on a stock that is near its all-time highs, meaning people are, looking for this to start breaking out in terms of resistance levels. As it starts to break through resistance levels, more buyers come in and break through more resistance levels. So you're expecting this could potentially really start to run up towards, like I said, it's all-time highs, 95 up here. That's what I was kind of looking at. If we can get a breakout with some volume, then we might be, heading towards the 90s. And this one has the ability to really move. We can see that its low a day is 77, right? So it's eight points that we're looking at intraday that it has the ability to move. And it's average true range showing that it does have the ability to move. Yesterday or Thursday, it moved from 65 to 83. So lots of momentum in it. So and also really high volume on Thursday. So there was a lot of things that are saying this has good potential to go, and then it just broke out. Some buyers came in and stalled. So, and it was just another example again of a day where the setups were there, and you'd think that we would get some movements that we didn't get, and that's where again, managing risk is important, because if it doesn't, if that volume comes in and it doesn't start breaking through some of these resistance points, resistance levels, then that's an indication to you, okay, like something's off with this setup, right? And then that led to a little bit of frustration, and it can lead to some losses. Obviously they were a little bit smaller, but that's why it's important to be aware of everything going on in the setup. The pattern may look great, but the volume's not good, or the volume's great, but the pattern's a little bit shaky, like we saw on GMHI. And so all these things, looking at the level two, looking at it, if there's a lot of sellers on a level two, all these things are giving us little tidbits of the big picture, and we have to be able to put all those things together to really get those big moves to happen. And that's obviously what didn't happen on Friday. So look, get back to it tomorrow morning, and get back on a green streak. The big thing is resetting, and not getting ahead and thinking, I gotta make this back, right? It's just, what, that day is done with, a new day starts tomorrow. And it's just another day at the office, another day in front of the charts. We don't know what tomorrow will bring. Hopefully there's some catalysts, and then we can go from there, and use the names that have the catalysts.